is X. I know it's What's going on, guys? This is X. I know it's been a minute since I've dropped a video, and I apologize. A lot of things kind of both come up, and I won't lie, some switch arounds have to happen. But we're back now, and I'm going to do something unique. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about orders, more specifically the orders that came in V. Now, if you don't know, because you only really started standard, orders were a mechanic introduced in V around the tail end of the Shinamon anime slash the G-Boot, right? It was pretty much that entire segment onwards where orders were originally created, and thus you got one every set. Now, as you know, we get so many orders, we don't know what to do with them. Quite literally, we really don't know what to do with them. Oh my god. But today, I thought, why not take a little trip down memory lane and see what the first orders were, kind of talk about them in order, and then at the end, kind of just give them a ranking. So, without being said, let's get started. So, here we go with the orders. And I know I said that I would be including all of the orders that were including V, but there's one caveat. The Bang Dream orders, which appear in the Bang Dream collab booster, are not going to be included. Mostly because, one, there's a lot of them, and two, a lot of them were specifically tuned to their own individual decks or other decks, you know, yada yada, that they really need more context. They could be their own video, to be quite honest with you. Which, you know, if you want to see that, you know, let me know in the comments, you know, and please like, comment, subscribe, and let's get started. So we're going to start by talking with the original Blitz order, the Quick Shield. Now, pretty much when orders were introduced, all the starters were errated in the festival collection to basically be like, hey, if you go second, or when you ride your Vanguard and both you and opponent have the same grade, you get a Quick Shield, which is a little ticket that is outside of your deck, and you get the ability of one of your attack units gets power plus 5,000 in that battle. Pretty much this card just is played only because you get it for free. Outside of that, you really wouldn't add it in your deck, and it's not really, it hasn't aged well is what I mean. Like 5k power in a format where pretty much like it's more so your late game power that's the issue rather than your early game power. So this card pretty much just kind of became like a free Discord fodder for decks that went second, and that's pretty much all it was. I'm going to put it basically in B as the middle because it's like it is the middle. I think another knock against it is, you know what, I'm probably gonna put it in C. Excuse me, because I just thought about it. A knock against it is also just because it's the only Blitz order that was ever released in V. It has to effectively beat. It's all our defensive tools we had in V for such a long time. It's kind of just like, wow. It's just kind of like you didn't do anything with the Blitz order mechanic until we actually got the overdress. So V pretty much does not have a real Blitz order worth anything. So C is there. I think C is pretty much, if you're worse than the Quick Shield, you have a problem. So moving on, you know, they've been putting in everything, the trial decks, sets, always box toppers, etc., etc. Speaking of trial decks, when the All-Mount, Asha, and Chronojet trial decks released, they also received a new order, which is Power Rise Elixir. It's a grade 2 normal order, and it has the skill of Cannon Blast 2. One of your units gets power plus 20k until end of turn. 20k is a lot of power. However, the Cannon Blast 2 is already pretty steep, as well as, you know, if this is your only card in your hand, as the problem most orders are today, it's like, if you can't do anything outside of that, you're very, very hard to do. So that card never really saw competitive play. I'm also just going to put it in C. It's just a basic order. So on to the, you know, speaking of All-Mount, Asha, and Chronojet, the next stage, which was the Extra Booster, released another order, which is the Ingenious Tactics Book of Strong Arming, which is a grade 3 normal order. Now, it has the skill, cost Cannon Blast 3 and Soul Blast 3, draw 3 cards, and 3 of your front row units get power plus 10,000 at end of turn. Now, if you understand anything about Premium around the Overdress era, you understand that this card was very powerful in 2 specific decks in Premium. One is Vanquisher. Actually, no. Hold on just a second. I am going ahead of myself. But you know this card is being powerful in the Gridora Meg Colony shenanigans, where you just pretty much played this twice effectively and just drew a bunch of cards. Your front row got a bunch of power, and your opponent couldn't do anything about it. But before then, this actually did see some experimentation. In, I talked about later, like Vanguard book in current premium was a possibility because this card was just pretty good. Vanguard didn't really burn a lot of counterblast. But another deck that was actually pretty interesting, especially when we get to, I believe, set 11, the Sea of Blue Cavalry. Excuse me, I have it right there. Let me double check right there. Storm of Blue Cavalry, excuse me, was a deck build of Ashura Kaiser, where because you don't really blow counterblast, you could effectively just use the book and actually have more effective. Plus, it's a grade 3, meaning you can actually use it to keep restanding. To restand abilities on your actual attack, because the Ashura Kaiser loves grade 3s. So I'd say this is probably an A. And that's more so just kind of like because it's just been so long. I'd agree it's probably an A. It's probably one of the best orders so far. Another thing they also said when orders were announced was that they would probably be as generic as possible. They would be as generic as possible. There would not be a orders restricted to the clan, which, that was immediately the worst lie they ever told, because immediately we got the card when Light Darts intersect from the Majesty Lord Blaster super structured deck, whatever you want to call it, the special deck. It's a grade 2 normal order that's only connected to Royal Paladin, and it has the skill resolve one of these effects below and shuffle your deck. If Blaster Blade is on your Vanguard or Rearguard, search your deck for the one Blaster Dark, reveal it, put it into your hand. If Blaster Dark is on your Vanguard or Rearguard, search your deck for the one Blaster Blade, reveal it, and put it into your hand. If you have both on your Vanguard or Rearguard, search your deck for the one Magical Blaster, reveal it, put it to your hand. It's a grade 2 order. Its main goal is to search out the missing blaster for your combo, and that is effectively all it does. Now, that's still pretty good. It's, still not a minus or anything, but it effectively only works in one deck, so I can't really say it's better or anything, but I'll say, it's a B. The Majesty Lord Blaster order is a B. I give it like that. If they only didn't go back on their whole, orders will only be connected thing, maybe we could have got something cool for the other clans or nations. But here we are. And speaking of here we are, we've moved on to Silver Dust Blaze, which is where, people say this is where the power creep really started, which they're not wrong. The cross is still the most. I'm not here for the cross. What I'm here for is the orders. And we're here for Clear Flame, Whirling Wash, and Curse Cleansing, which is a grade 3 normal order, and it has the skill choose one of your circles, unlock the lock card on a circle, and stand the rear guard on that circle. If you unlocked or stand, draw a card. So this is probably like one of the best orders in the game because, hey, for, well, more specifically, it's more for like Noble Grappler and all the card decks that really like restanding their units. But this is primarily here for Link Joker. Link Joker loves this card, especially Messiah, where they can unlock, lock, and actually make more plays much more effectively. They don't have to wait for the battle phase to unlock. They can do, this gave the deck much more flexibility. It gave it draw power, right? It's pretty much a cycle. And, there's certain cards where like, hey, if it's unlocked, draw a card, or if it's unlocked, for each card that gets unlocked, draw power. So you get more, like, the ability to, like, gain more power or draw more cards, depending on, how you build your deck and whatnot. So it gave the deck much more flexibility. It gave it, it's just such a good order. I'd say it is probably, this is like, probably above the Majesty order, but below the book. I think book just had a lot more competitive play. That's just me. But what probably never saw play ever is Soul Bearing Roulette, which was released in Butterfly the Moonlight. Probably one of my favorite just sets aesthetically. That's just me. I love that set. It's not because it's another set with Murakumo in it where they were actually still viable. Don't believe anyone lying. but it has the skill Counterblast 1, Soul Charge 1. If your soul has 2 more cards with the same card name as that Soul Charge card, you draw a card. So this is pretty much just a Counterblast 1 to Soul Charge and potentially draw a card. But it's on an order, you have to wait till grade 3, and you're not exactly sure you're going to hit your card. So it effectively just, it's very risky to use. It just never really saw any play. I say it is above Powerless Elixir, but not by much. That's just my opinion. Now, as for not by much, but I still feel like this card could definitely see play one day, and that is the order from Phantom Dragon Aeon. As if that set wasn't already low-key busted. I feel like I should talk about that set more. Maybe one day. Is the Halo Bond Solidar Bangle. It's a grade 1 normal order, and has a skill cost put a grade 2 or less card from your hand into your soul. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 card from among them, and put it into your hand, and put the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. I think this is actually a pretty decent order. It's a top 3 search, you add it, the rest go to the bottom, it stacks your deck, you add cards to your soul. I think the only problem is because orders are such a -1, you're not really plussing from it. I think that's the one problem with this. But I did see a lot of people, but it's okay. What it really was used for was more so in decks that you really needed the card before a certain turn. And what better one is the Anger Blader deck for Tajikaze, because Tajikaze, Anger Blader was still at 1 for a long time. So why not use Solidar Bangle to search out for your, have an extra search for a deck that didn't really have a lot of early game plussing like that. So hey, if you can get your Anger Blader, you were in business. So that's why this card is played. So I'd say it's probably, I kind of want to say it's the best order just off of that. I think it's just the most generically good. I think these two have seen a lot of play, but just being honest, I feel like Solar Banger never really got the chance to shine as well. I think this card is dope. I really feel like if there was another deck that could use it, I think we'd be looking at this card as like one of the best orders of all time. But that's just me. That's my opinion. Speaking of opinions, we're next going into the Illusory Script manuscript. I'm sorry, it's been a long time since I've done a video. As you can tell, it's been a month. But we've got Illusory Spirit manuscript, Fancyclopedia. A grade 2 normal order from Stormblue Cavalry, has the skill cost Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1. One of your rear guards gets power plus 5k until end of turn, and at the end of turn, retire that unit, draw a card. This is very obviously more of a Great Nature type order. It gets buff your card, at the end of turn, retire it and draw a card. It's pretty much like Great Nature, but for everybody. I think this card could have seen play, but when we were in a COVID era, so I feel like when we were in the COVID era, and 2, pretty much like no one was really giving orders a chance. I think this one could have seen some play, maybe here and there, but there was just never, again, there's never a deck that could really use it. I like this better than Quick Shield. I don't know if I want to say it's better than Light of Darkness. I think Light of Darkness just still does so much for its deck just because it has to, that I say Light of Darkness is better. I feel like this is good. Now, speaking of good, we have Aspirations of Limitless Power from Divine Lightning Radiance. It's a grade 3 normal order, and it has a skill, put a normal unit from your drop zone in the bottom of your deck. If you put a grade 3 or greater card, draw a card. This card is, I'm gonna say this, I love this card. This card is pretty good. It's a normal unit recycler for like specific cards you need. If it's a grade 3, you draw a card. This was, a lot of like cards, it didn't see play on its release, but in the very next set, which we will talk about soon, it really saw a lot of play in a Highlander, in Reindeer. specifically, right? Highlander, Reindeer specifically, because it just recycled your grade 4s, made sure your deck was able to, actually work and you didn't miss. And it's just a really good card. I say it is high B, better than these two, straight up. Next, speaking of the next set, Twinkle Merity released, and we got Lyrical Veil. Ironic how that was, teased on us before then. It's a grade 2 normal order, and as a skill, cost Soul Blast 2 and discard a Lyrical Veil from your hand. Choose up to 2 grade 2 or less unit cards from your drop zone and call them the rearguard circle. Choose any number of players' rearguards until end of your opponent's next turn. They get intercept and can intercept from the back row. So here's something interesting about this. I'm positive this card did see play in a deck build, I think a few times. I don't know if it was a meta build or what. I don't know if it wasn't meta, but it was like kind of like a rogue strategy. I forget what the deck was. If you remember, please let me know. I know there was a deck. I'm not talking about the actual deck that this card was built around. Because yes, there was a deck that was built around this specific order. But there was a different deck that actually used this order. I gotta say, Soul Blast 2 to call 2 grade 2 or less unit cards from your drop and call them out, that is very generically good. That is really crazy. I think and then choose 2 cards to get intercept back row. I feel like Protect decks would have loved this, except for one real issue, which is discard an additional Lyrical Veil. So because you have to have another Lyrical Veil, that means you have to at least run 2 to 4 copies. But if you just brick on it, it's very... You just only see one for like most of the game. It's very, this card just kind of doesn't do anything. But I still think this card is actually pretty good. I say probably above Aspirations. I'll move this over here. I say it's probably above the Aspirations Limitless Power, because I just think that Revive 2 is just pretty dope. Like, you Soul Blast 2, you already got the 2 right. Excuse me. Soul Blast 2, you already got the 2. You're calling right there and Stare. So that would be all of them. However, there's one order left with the border, and that is what was released in Premium Collection, the second Premium Collection. And this was Temposphere, which I think this is the first or the second, I don't remember. It was a Premium Collection, and it was Temposphere. It's a grade 1 normal order, and it has a skill: count boss 1 and turn a card from your G zone face up. Look at 7 cards from the top of your deck. Reveal up to 2 cards without any continuous act or auto abilities from among them. Put them into your hand and shuffle your deck. For those of you who know Premium, you know that this card is insane. So much so that is the first and currently only order in the game to be currently banned. So that being said, I want to talk about it specifically, 1, because of the order, and 2, it's just a piece of history. It has the qualification. It is technically not a standard order. It has the black border, and so that's what it is. So I'm just gonna put banned, right here, and put Temposphere here as just an honor. You're here to witness how every other order up to you got to you, and why you are in the gulag. But yeah, that's pretty much all of this, right? I think Solar Bang is probably one of the best orders that could always see play if a deck really wants it. This card is still crazy if a deck is able to use it. This is very, very important for Link Joker. This card, I think, could be really good if they actually gave V support, or like there's a deck that just really could use it, not including the other deck that obviously uses it. But we could talk about that later. Aspirations, I'll be honest, that is mostly a bias on that one. Light and Darkness quite literally is just helps the blaster deck function. This card could be good, but the Quick Shield is just the baseline. Anything worse to it is just trash. So pretty much the Powerized Elixir and the roulette are not great, and Tempest Spirit is forever in the Shadow Realm. It will never come back because it being on the round for so long has messed up the game. So it's not coming back. You and Thardon are completely in the Hall of Fame for all time. Well, that's pretty much it. I wanted to just make a quick video because it's been so long since I actually dropped one. But yeah, I've got more content coming on Horizon, so please, if you want to see more content, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.